Shin Godzilla.
First released in May of 2017 as a Bandai Premium web shop exclusive, we have the S.H.MonsterArts the second and third form set, or Shinagawa-kun and Kamada-kun. The boys. Let's get this lovely box out of me. Due to some legality snafu, apparently these weren't allowed to be distributed over in the US. Some with legendary whatever. The most very of special boys to ever special boy ever. This guy is actually quite lovingly done. Now, of course, there are going to be certain color tones on here that definitely weren't in the movie, but I would definitely call this a lot closer to what Shinagawa-kun got. We've got the red, bloody, wound-like back that Shin Godzilla is known for. Delicious and fantastically gory-looking details up in there. We've got the lovingly painted gills, which, just like the movie monster series, is going to feature a lot of detailings in between the flaps. And for the most part, I gotta say, Tamashii and the S.H.MonsterArts crew did a damn good job with this here paint application, because I could definitely see this going wrong in very many a way. And holy God in heaven, would you look at them teeth? They're so tiny and they're so beautifully painted. Same could be said for the inside of the mouth entirely. The detailing in here is so very supreme, and the fact that it's so neatly painted is something exceptionally praiseworthy. Same could be said for these pale, dead fish eyes on both sides, don't you know? My God, Kamada-kun from the top is just as horrifying as Kamada-kun from the front. The pointed crest of his chest, his tiny little arms, which are still in chicken nugget mode, the rollings of the skin into his lower torso and his tryptophobia, is that how it's said? Thighs? Covered in very concerning reds. Oh God, that's even worse. If you've got tryptophobia, I'm sorry. There's a bit of a foreign spooch there, but for the most part, the detailing is exceptionally on par. The lower part of the shin moving into foot kinda doesn't match up the best. I can see what they were going for here. Same for over here. Feels like they were trying to morphologically go from a darker color to a whiter color as it got to his extremities, since those would be the newest things on him, I guess. Although the inside of the thighs over here match up pretty dang well. Well, save for all this. And again, credit for where it is due. These toes are super tiny and they're beautifully painted. And then we're gonna move right back into the tail where, yeah, a lot of that mix and match colorway-isms is going to be very much apparent. Especially on the underside where we get this bloody dead fish into somewhat more of an infected looking orange. But as it appears, it looks like Shin Godzilla's fourth form isn't the only one that got multicolored tail syndrome, although this is obviously a lot better, I'd say. Beneath all of that, though, the detailing is fantastic. I'm pretty sure they had the CG files for this guy, and it absolutely shows. And even if they didn't, this is incredibly, incredibly on point. Let me show you something! And then we gotta talk about the other boy, Puke Goji. And no, I'm not calling him Puke Goji because what the fuck is your colorway? I'm calling him Puke Goji because he was gonna puke up like really hot blood all over the place when he gets confronted by the helicopters. We've got this roasted, rotted looking colorway for the body. Again, kind of multicolored, multifaceted in very many different ways. I've eased up on S.H.MonsterArts in recent day, but even I gotta arch an eyebrow and ask what the hell the Rock was cooking here. Let me show you something! This is very weird, exceptionally weird. We've got a very bloody look from the head to the neck to the titty crest to everything. But then we go into this, which doesn't have that much bloody looking appendage to it. I mean, there is some there. And then we move into the diaper crotch area where it's obviously a lot more focused upon. We go from blood to pumpkin soup orange, back down to blood, to more pumpkin soup orange. I guess they were going for a bit more of an organic look here, which is interesting because in the movie, bro was pretty straightforward, I'd like to think. But beyond the painted on visuals, I mean, detail-wise, this thing is gorgeous. And look at those tiny little boo-boo arms. Look at the nails. They're like beautifully painted. They're there. And I'm not going to lie, I really do dig the visceral take on just this whole upper body, like from here to here. The fact that he's got this slowly darkening skin tone that's just covered in what feels like a fountain of blood that is being excreted from his every pore. Coupled with a lovely attention to detail in terms of paint application for these friggin' teeth. That is just exceptionally praiseworthy. The dead fish eyes, I feel, were done rather friggin' well. It helps that the pupils are actually molded into the sculpt and not just painted on. Although this pupil is definitely bigger than this pupil. You had it good going on here. You had the perfect frosted donut. Here you kind of just gaped to the donut part. I'm sorry for that word choice. Inside of the mouth, just like Kamada-kun, it's going to be gross. It's going to be fantastic. And even though the majority of the paint job really does leave me scratching my head as to what the heck they were trying to accomplish here, I still, like this, my guy's back, his dorsal fins look like an infection. It's like an infected wound that just starts expelling all that gunk from its body, but it's a living thing. That's just what this thing gives off. Infection. Pain. Gunk. I do really like these dorsal fins though, even if there are some foreign spooches here and there. This is still a hell of an alternate take for a guy who is kinda mostly just red and maroon. The back of his neck, his back overall, yeah, it's giving off that lasagna disaster with a side of mustard tossed in there. Dear God, I almost gagged saying it. But again, that's really what it looks like. And that's gonna move on over into the tail to about this area over here, where it's essentially just going to sharpen at the very top until we get to this guy. Hello, Goro Maki. You're looking rather well these days. Yeah, that is some haunting shit, but I do have to give it to the tail on this guy. It's at least a bit more consistent-ish. There's still going to be a couple pieces over here that just don't pass the full-on vibe check. But when it comes to looking like how an infected mushroom album sounds, I think Shinagawa-kun captures something different here. I mean, that tryptogonophobia is back with these holes and everything, especially on this side. Can we get a 4K zoom? Oh my God, I feel like I can hear it. And again, the strewn bounce of red mixing with orange and this weird greenish brown almost. It's something to behold, and there's a lot of cool going on here. I just wish the overall paint job was a bit consistent. It appears to some extent that there was probably an idea going on in here, but the fall off from bloody turd to bloody Cheeto is something else. Yeah, I'm not sure what the Tamashii team were thinking here, but I'm not gonna lie, this overall colorway is kind of cool. I think people would have been a little bit more happy with something like this if it was on a movie monster series or an HG. But then again, how much did this release for? 9,180 yen. Ah. I can understand and see why people were upset with these releases because, you know, the screen accurate thing, the whole 9 to 5. Who knows? Maybe they'll do something new for these guys for Shin Godzilla's 10th anniversary next year. I hope. I would like to actually own these. But with that being said, we're not done with Paint and Detail yet. No, that is correct. We have another little set to take a look at here. Yes, that's right, because in October of the same year, we also received the Maquette color version of these two figures and Shin Godzilla. Now, as far as tooling goes, these are the exact same figures. They're just painted up in this beautiful Maquette colorway. I mean, look at this. Yes, it looks like a coffee stain that's alive and well and trying to eat you in your nightmares, but my God, this might be one of the best S.H.MonsterArts paint jobs I've ever seen. Yes, it's been whittled away and down to just a few colors, but look at how well it was done. Kamada Boy's rib cage along with his little chicken nugget arms look friggin' fantastic. Even more so once you move into the gills, the head. Oh my God. This is exemplary. This is a premium, I do think. But I also do feel like this specific paint job would likely chip if you move them too much. I don't know, you ever get a new figure in and you can just feel the way that it's painted and just know I probably shouldn't move this as much as I am? I mean, it is a matte finish. Hence why I am absolutely not going to be going nuts with these in terms of articulation, because this paint job is just something else to friggin' behold. Since I haven't really communicated it thus far, these aren't mine. These were lent to me by that of the Articulation series. And I really do have to give him very many a thanks, because the last time I saw these two on eBay, it was not cheap. No. Kamada-kun is fantastic, but let's take a look at his bloody brother. Shinagawa-kun, I feel, came out even better. The eyes, the teeth, moving into the necks. This really does feel like a bronzed statue in a way, a gold statue even. I don't know, they look gold on my camera, but IRL in front of my eyes, they kind of look bronzed-ish. I don't know. The technique is just so incredibly on point. It captures every heightened edge, every divot, every dip, everything. And it showcases the detail of the sculpt and mold to such a degree where I can understand why these were the last Kamada-kun and Shinagawa-kuns released by the line for damn near 10 years. Honestly, these are the perfected versions of the character. Yes, they did not look like this in the film, but when it comes to a pure artistry, not artisan. I think that's like goods or some shit. When it comes to the arts overall of these two releases, I mean one release, but two figures in this one release. Oh man. S.H.MonsterArts did something so very friggin' cool here. I'm upset I didn't really have much of a way of figuring out how to get these for myself back in the day, but hey, here we are. We're talking, oh my God, that looks great. We're talking about them, we are appreciating them, and there is quite a lot to appreciate. Look at this, coffee stain, coffee stain, coffee stain, coffee stain. Oh dear God, there's a loogie in my coffee. Beautiful. I didn't want to go too overboard with these. They're more of like a playful inclusion here, and they're likely the only time I am ever going to be able to talk about them on this channel, and I'm glad I at least got to showcase what they are visually. Size comparisons. Shinagawa-kun at a neutral stance will be standing under 5 inches tall, but if you just move his back and neck backwards and you get him into that one pose where he's roaring after he's evolved from Kamada-kun, he'll actually be standing over 5 inches tall. Meanwhile, when it comes to the Kamada-kuns, depending on how you pose them, they'll either be standing under or just about 2 inches tall. Shokugan, Finger Puppets, Bam Presto, King, Marmot. I forget the name of this thing, but I bought it and I still love it. Limited Movie Monster Series Morphological Change Set, and the SHMA Brothers all together again. Multicolored, beloved, in scale with one another, I do believe. And yes, I know what you're thinking. I still do hate that Shin Godzilla reissue. I hate it so much. Still, that's all. Articulation-wise, let's start with the chicken nugget. Up and down. Minimal side to side. Open. Up and down at the neck over here. Left and right. Ball joint at the torso over here. Can move up and down minimally. Left and right minimally. Yes, these chicken wings are slightly articulated. They can move out just like that and then back in. That's fucking adorable. Legs can move out rather minimally, it seems. Interesting. Obviously, there's a ball joint in there, but I'm not going to push it because I ain't scraping paint off somebody else's figure. Ball joint at the knee that can kick forward, not very far at all, but it can also move back in, just like that. Ball joint at the ankle point shin over here. Up, down, side to side. And then we're going to get a very infantile up and down, side to side at the foot over here. And then we're going to have a very delicate ball jointed tail, which I'm pretty sure you can tell by the shape isn't really going to be able to do much. It's very, very narrow. Although the tip do be very ball jointed. Well, granted, all of them are. These versions of these figures will likely never be re-released ever again, given how Bandai operates. And for some, I imagine that's a good thing. Now, Shinagawa-kun is kind of more of the same that we got with Kamada-kun, just a bit more. His head's going to be split into those 3 pieces, so when it comes to turning left and right, I mean, let's get that from the front. Yeah, when it comes to like a left and right pose, you're more so going to be relying on the neck than anything going on here. Bro's got half a noodle in his throat. Starting from as far back as you can possibly go with the neck can bend in. Yeah, about that far, not pushing it. Ooh, feels like minimal movement over here, or at least minimal comfortable movement over here. The little arms are gonna be on a ball joint. Look at him, he's waving. The arms do have room for rotation, but Again, nothing I'm comfortable with accomplishing here beyond just this. We're gonna get 2 ball joints in the main body that will allow for a bend down just like that, revealing more gross, infected-looking paint applications and details. If I do this gently enough, yes, this will allow for a lean to the side just like that. The legs can move in and out like so. This guy likes to move out a bit more than this gentleman does, and I'm not gonna push it. We'll actually get some more rotation out of the legs over here. Gonna have a nice bend out at the knee, and then a bend in at the knee. We'll get a swivel at the foot, as well as a bend out and a bend back in. Look at that. So nice. Thankfully, Shinagawa-kun's tail is going to have more room for movement on the inside, so you can get a rather lovely curve out of it. Who knows, maybe if they do a new version of these two, the tails will be something that they can retool and work on, or at least just make them look more screen accurate. Flexible, but not the most flexible, especially in comparison to what SHMA is putting out today. Posability-wise, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna lie to me. I lie to myself 9 times out of 10 throughout the rest of the year. It's the holidays, I'm supposed to be being cheery. These two are not going to be the look of the posability ball on your shelves and your collection spaces overall. And for what they are supposed to be, essential companion pieces to that of Shin Godzilla, I can give them a pass there. The colorways, I can understand if people don't vibe with them, even if they are based on those original Maquettes. But for the most part, I feel like Shinagawa-kun is versatile and posable enough to make up for that of Kamada-kun, who is just an overpriced accessory, essentially. But with how they are painted, whether you like the colorway or not, they are actually quite neat. Well, Kamada-kun is. Shinagawa-kun, he's a bit of a mixy-matchy. And I will admit that I have more fun posing these two with Shin Godzilla, interacting, doing goofy shit, than I do... Listen, I love Shin Godzilla, but the bro was a plank, and so were his other forms. They didn't really do much, except for gape in the void and try and translate what the little dots on the bottom side of checkers is supposed to say. Seriously. Watch Shin Godzilla with that in your brain. It makes sense. I like these sets quite a bit, but I would definitely say stay away from the aftermarket and come join the prayer circle so we can offer up our chromosomes to that of Bandai Chin Chin, so he can give us the reissues that these two dudes absolutely need and are absolutely up for. Since these were so obviously based off of the Maquettes, they could redo the paint. We could get movie-accurate versions of them, and it makes sense. Just, give me a puddle of blood accessory for that of Kamada-kun there, Bandai, and we're square. Or triangle. Whatever you want to be. As a Shin Godzilla fan, owning either of these would be a highlight. Now, even though this set over here is likely never going to see production light ever again in its entire lifespan, that's fine. They're beautiful. I don't know if I would say I want them even more now, but I can absolutely say I definitely want these gents to go alongside one of my 3 soon-to-be 4 S.H.MonsterArts Shin Godzillas. Michael of the Articulation Theory? Michael of the Articulation series, thank you so much for sending these out to me. I will have them packed up with extra insurance and back on their way home very, very soon. To everybody out there watching this on the night it released, I hope you all had a lovely, safe, and fulfilling Big Eat Day. I don't know what I'm going to be working on first because I just paid for a lot of toys and a lot of shipping for a lot of those toys. So it could be any of these things over here. Get ready, get amped. Christ my ass season is about to begin, and I've got plans.